Right. Well, good morning, good evening, etc., etc. As the title of the video will suggest, I haven't done the title yet, but I'm going to be talking about my ideas for Destiny 2. So I'm going to be talking about story, just general world environment interaction, the subclasses, the characters, the end game, just activities, PvP, a little bit about ship battles, something that one of my favourite topics to discuss, and then some miscellaneous stuff that doesn't that's just general for rolling around and making the game more fun. Just small things. But starting with the story, a lot of other YouTubers have talked about the destruction of the tower. Now I think that's going to happen. That's I think Bife made a video talking about using the grimoire, and honestly, I'm not going to use the lore or the grimoire. I don't have it in front of me, and I haven't really properly prepared with grimoire included. But my opinion on it is it's going to happen. It could happen one of few ways. The Cabal could come and destroy the tower, or with the Cabal attacking the tower, Rasputin could destroy the tower in defense of Earth. And that could be interesting. The Hive, they know where. They should know where the tower is. The Fallen could do it, but I don't think they would. They seem to value the Traveller too much. And well, the Vex, not yet. I don't think we're in the right time frame. They're still recovering from losses that we've given them. But in the eventuality that the Cabal destroy the tower, where it would leave us story-wise, this is the one. This is the interest. This is where this is why my main ideas for the story start to crop up. That will stay in our solar system at the start of Destiny 2. We'll open up with a cinematic of the tower being destroyed, or a great battle, or something like that. I mean, some nice cinematic, a bit like we've seen in Rise of Iron. The cinematics are so much better in Rise of Iron. So the Cabal destroy the tower, and then they return to their solar system, quite happy that they've set us back or defeated us. But we're not defeated. I mean, the old cliche of being heroes and having to save the world. So we travel to Venus, and we fight the Vex. But we're seeking their knowledge of travel, because our means of travel have been destroyed, and we need to rebuild that. But we also want to be able to get to the Cabal as quick as possible and catch them off guard. So we discover the knowledge. We discover the knowledge of how they traverse across solar systems to reach the Cabal and take the fight to the Cabal in their own solar system, which would be nice. It means we get to see a different environment, and it would just be a nice change. I mean, who wants to be rolling around the Cosmodrome still in Destiny 2? So with the actual world environment, an outpost-based system is what I would want. So we have larger scale maps to allow a larger, more open world experience, because Destiny, it was marketed as a semi-open world, I think. I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I just think it needs to move towards a more open world system. And then another idea, which credit to Tyler on this, that at the outpost you have vehicles that are appropriate for the landscapes, rather than we just drive around on sparrows. You get like moon buggies or dune riders, or whatever you want to call the ones that go across sand, and all that sort of stuff. And they can carry more people. This is the key point, I think, that I have on this. They carry more people, so you go in as a fire team of 3. More on how big the fire teams are later. but they hold more people, and you can travel as a group rather than one person. If you've got a quicker sparrow, you lag behind a little, and you're left behind by your teammates. It happens a lot to me because I get lost, or my attention gets drawn. I have a short attention span, so. In terms of subclasses, now we have the three subclasses: the Void, the Arc, the Solar, which don't make sense because there's the three different types. But what I would want to see is more subclasses and more classes. So as I play a lot of Elder Scrolls Online of late, Elder Scrolls Online has 4 classes, which is Dragon Knight, Nightblade, Sorcerer, and I've forgotten the last one. That's embarrassing. But there's 4. There is 4 subclasses, or 4 classes that you can pick from, and then you combine that with your race, which gives you extra subclasses. Now, what I'm proposing is not the same system, but something similar with more classes. Not maybe cap it at 4, or maybe have 5 or 6. I don't know. Depends. I'm not expecting too much change on that department, and they can add more subclasses. So why not add more classes to the game? And an interesting thing, which a lot of people talk about, builds. So build, like your character build, and I don't think builds really come in to Destiny, to be honest. I just there's not enough control over the numbers. It's all a numbers game with a build. You take a look at Division, you take a look at any MMO really, and it's all numbers. It's all a numbers game. You've distributed a certain amount of points, you've distributed into certain attributes, and that's your build on top of your abilities you use. So perhaps mixing and matching abilities. So say I'm on a Titan. I'm on a Hunter right now, but say you're on a Titan. You want to use Striker Titan, but you don't really want to use the grenades. You kind of if you're like me, you like incendiary grenades. So you want to use incendiary grenades, but you also like the overshield from a force barrier melee. Well, why not use all of those? Why not be able to mix and match? It's not game breaking. You're not running with overpowered stuff that no one else has got. You're just using it in different combinations. And more characters to fit the fact that we could have more classes. So we could have more outside of Hunter, Warlock, Titan, which I do want them to stay because I like how they are, especially Hunter. I mean Hunter, so. And you have more characters, more subclasses, and you just mix and match. And moving towards a more MMO style, I think Destiny 2 has to incorporate MMO roles. So for those of you who don't play MMOs, that's DPS, so damage. Then you've got tanks and you've got healers, and in endgame content they have their specific roles, and you need all of them for the bigger activities. Of course, it doesn't make much difference when you're rolling around in story and such, but in terms of like larger scale PvP in those games and in larger scale endgame content, you need those roles. Like looking at World of Warcraft here and Elder Scrolls Online, etc., etc. Now, this is the big one I'm moving on to. Is in terms of having roles, to have a role, you need to be able to spec and build. So attribute points. So you earn attribute points as you level up. Well, you would earn attribute points as you level up. Sorry. And these attribute points, there's 2 paths. You can have either your armor, recovery, or agility, or your intellect, discipline, strength. I would be in favor of armor, recovery, agility, keeping these intellect, discipline, strength, because that's what grinding armor's for. I'm not on a T12 build on this character. I used to be, but there's no point because I've got a different stuff, and that's the only time I would really consider builds, is when you farm for specific armor pieces that have certain stat rolls with certain perks. That's a build. Changing your subclass around, that's not a build. So on the premise it's armor, recovery, and agility, you earn these. So you apply attribute points. This is for PvE. Just a quick just before I begin. In PvP, you would have fixed values as you do now, determined by which class you are or which character you are, and assuming that you get to mix and match, it would just be determined which class you are. So Hunter, Warlock, Titan, etc. So with the attribute points, you earn them as you level up. You earn 1. Well, you start off with 5 at level 1 because we're going to be really nice about it. And then you earn 1 at level 2, level 3, level 4, and then 5 at level 5. And then from there you earn 1 every 4 levels. And you earn 5 every 5 levels. So the numbers work out, you have 58 attribute points by the time you hit level 40, assuming level 40 is the hard cap, is the soft cap on level. Now, the most that you could put into one attribute, armor, recovery, or agility, is 30, with the numbers being +2 to armor, +3 to recovery and agility. So, if you were to max out your armor for a tanky character, you would have 60% armor. But if you wanted to have more recovery, you could have up to 90% recovery. That sort of stuff. But of course, that would not cross over into PvP. PvP, you would have it would be fixed values. But this falls very much into the roles system that's been developed here. Like recovery, armor, and agility. Well, agility would be more for a DPS, so you can get in and out after doing damage. Recovery is more for your tanks and healers, maybe. And, well, armor, well, obviously for tanks. But you could have an armored DPS, like a tanky DPS or a tanky healer. Each to their own on that one, at least. I think I've covered that. So yeah. And a final note on attribute points: you wouldn't in terms of PvE. You would get buffs to your resistances per an attribute. So maybe a resistance to certain elements or whatever. I don't know. Something. The idea is just it's floating around. It's something new I came up with today actually, and nothing from subclasses anymore. So, i.e., I don't know. Have I got so like these, the Path Forgotten, Path Bin? You could have these for PvP. You can keep these, but in PvE, these do not matter. What is determined is your base, what you start with, plus your attribute points. And like, I don't know, another thing, like more on the line. So here, so over the horizon, decreases recovery. Now that would not be a thing anymore. I don't like those sorts of things because, I don't know, it just seems. I know they're trying to put builds in, but it doesn't really work. Okay, so that's. Now we talk about endgame. This is interesting. So, of course, we have your 6-man raids. We keep those 6-man raids, but say you've got a larger fire team, say a group of 9, you can go and do a bigger raid, which has the same raid, but it has more bosses. You've got a large and on top of the 6-man raids, so you can either do the raid as a 6-man, but you'll get less drops, or you can try and find 3 extra people for a more difficult variant of the raid. Not like switching from normal to hard mode, because you would have normal and hard mode versions of both, but you have instead you have the choice of having a larger fire team. I mean, because it's more for people who are in clans and they've got too many people. And it also means that you can carry more people through the raids, so you can have like 5 people that know what they're doing and 4 people that don't, etc., etc. And it gives more people the opportunity to do raids because there's more people looking for more people, if that makes sense. So you have, and also a larger loot table for raids in general, just across the board. So guns have different archetypes. You know, we know that. I'm going to use hand cannons later on to explain something else. But like just looking at the archetypes, you got higher rate of fire and lower or higher impact. So why not have that in raids? So it gives you something more to farm for. So if you don't like the Fatebringer. I don't know where that cut off. So because of my other thing, the clip ended. I mean, it was 15 minutes, so I'll try to be a little bit quicker. There's a lot to go through. So yeah, so the Imago loop is the same archetype as the Fatebringer, which is the same archetype as the Ias Luna. So you've got that. Say you don't like that archetype for whatever reason, and you prefer a Word of Crota archetype or a Last Word archetype for whatever you want to do, then why not be able to farm for that and have those drop as well? So you get more, and it would increase the longevity of raids. So, and then you get more different roles. I mean, the fixed roles on raid weapons are nice because they have like buffs for the raid. But what if you could just have a different stuff? So you have the main perk. I don't know if I've got any raid weapons on me. I don't know if I've got any raid weapons on me. No, not on this character. But the one that it has, the raid weapons have their own special perks. So they keep those, but what? So you can roll for more range or more stability on, say, the hand cannon. And this next point, a lot of people may not like, but I'm all in favour for bringing back the year one upgrade mentality, where you have to get shards. Well, you have to get them. You have to get shards or energy to upgrade upgrade the light level on your gear. So on the current light level system, so hard mode starts at 385 on its drops, but that's the only light level it'll drop at. Post that you have the upgrade tree, which my Word of Courage should have, like this. Like for those of you who didn't play year one, these would upgrade the damage. Hence, this is a 160 weapon without its upgrades, without these three, and they cost shards. They cost energy to upgrade. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong there. But I like that system. That made it feel more grindy. It added longevity to the raids. Once I hit 400 the second week of hard mode, and then after that, until they brought out ornaments, there was nothing for me to do in the raid. There was no point. I did the raid every week just because I needed 400 gear to infuse my other stuff up, but it wasn't really for. There was nothing I knew I was getting from the raid. So in terms of activities, moving away from raids, like a proper wave-based combat. So, no, but I know they tried this with Prisoner of Elders. They've tried this with Archon Sword. But I think take a look at Nazi zombies. I think most of us should know of Nazi zombies. That on that similar system. So say you are you're on Venus. You could be on Venus. You could be in like the Ishtar Sinks on Venus, and you have a wave-based combat, a large, big wave-based combat with 5 rounds of ads and then a boss. But it's limitless, so you can set high scores on this, and it's all bragging rights, and you can earn stuff every week, like earn packages or fulfill bounties every week or something. Just something there, just to have proper wave-based stuff. Also, further on that, just more 2-man and 4-man activities. I think because there's not enough activities you can do 2-man, well, there's none really apart from doubles in the Crucible. And 4-man activities, these would make it easier to get a team, so you can still earn endgame gear, but just in a smaller fire team. And this is for those people who can't get fire teams easily. On a PvP, moving on to a PvP look. I know this has been talked about a lot in terms of a competitive mode or a ranked playlist in the style of Call of Duty's Arena, I think it's called, but where essentially you get fixed loadouts. You have you're restricted in what you can use, but in Destiny you would fix the weapons, so you can only use a certain hand cannon, a certain auto rifle, or a certain hand cannon of a certain archetype. So you get a low rate of fire, medium rate of fire, high rate of fire hand cannon, and you're fixed with that one. You can't switch between your Luna and your Pally and your Devil, sort of thing. And they'll probably they'll all be blues, so they've not got too much range, and it just puts people on an equal footing and it's really testing gun skill and skill at the game, because these guns aren't as good as a legendary with max range. Also, adding doubles always being active. And 4v4 playlists. 4v4 is highly competitive. I like 4v4. That's why sweats are 4v4, because they're very competitive. Okay, so ship battles. As I mentioned earlier. So it would be either above the PvP maps or PvE environments. Your ships determine. Your ships are like archetypes. They determine your rate of fire, your impact. Well, no, your rate of fire and impact, sorry, is determined by your primary weapon. So right now, and damage values appropriately to the weapon. That's not too difficult to do. So I've got a fawn on, so I've got a high rate of fire, lower impact hand cannon, as opposed to the Luna or the. Oh, I don't have another one of the other archetype. Of the medium, of the low rate of fire. So first curse, etc. So you would have those, and that would determine how quick your ship fires and how much it hits for. Just like PvP. The armor, agility, and recovery, which these stats aren't going to be determined by your build or whatever, or your subclass, or your class at least. Okay, so take a look at, just going through, I'm like this, the Kondratiot's Escape. This would be a tanky ship. It's not going to have high agility, but it will have high armor and a reasonable recovery. The Comitatus, for example, I mean, it might have lower agility, but it's going to be a all-round ship because that's what it looks like. I'm trying to find a speedy-looking ship, something like the Hildian Seeker. This would have high agility. It's like a glass cannon. Kind of looks like glass, so. But it would be like a glass cannon. It's not gonna have a lot of armor, but it's gonna have a lot of agility and a reasonable recovery. That sort of thing. And there would be of course, if they bring in a competitive mode to PvP, then the comp mode would have fixed ships that you can use. So you can only use, or they can so Bungie can cap out how much armor, recovery, and agility you can have. So you would probably see a lot of Comitatus type mid, losing my words. Jack of all trades, master of none ships. Alright, so I mean give me your thoughts on all the stuff that's come before that. The miscellaneous stuff, like moving your ships while in orbit, I think you can do it in Warframe, and it's really nice. It's just a fun little gimmick. Bigger patrol groups. Now this is something that I would love, to be able to go in 6-man on a patrol, because if you have bigger maps and bigger open world, then you can have bigger patrol groups. All these ideas are leaning into each other. So you have proper custom matches. Not like what we have now, but something like Overwatch has and Call of Duty has, where you can set the timer properly on certain abilities, rather than just having mayhem or not mayhem. An emote wheel. Oh god, I'm sick of only carrying 10 emotes. I've got all these emotes and I want to be able to use them all, and rather than just using one at a time. Quick slotting items. So if say you're in a tight spot in PvP, or you're in a raid and you need to change your primary real quick, but you can't really focus, so you press like up on your D-pad? Yeah, D-pad. Up on the D-pad. And you get a quick wheel to select, and you can select the primary and it automatically equips it for you. The same with armor and all that. And maybe for PvE, and this really fills in with the role system, adding potions in. So health potions. So a tank can pop a health potion if the healer isn't healing him. And that would be on a 5-minute cooldown, of course, just like everything else, like the simps and all that. And new gun and armor models. I think we've seen the same gun and armor models being rehashed over and over again. Not that I don't like them. Don't get me wrong, I like the gun and armor models, but I want to see something new. Like, or without the ornaments. Like, the ornaments are the things that change armor now, but I think we need to just see more. So, in summary, Destiny 2 needs to be bigger and better than Destiny is as it is now, because if it doesn't improve, then honestly it's going to be left in the dust, because people are going to get tired of playing the same game over and over again, as people are now. You see a lot of people dropping off of Destiny because there's nothing new. So, give me your thoughts, opinions. If you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right, drop a like on the video. That would be greatly appreciated. And all that jazz. And till next time, I have been the Assassin Lord, and thanks for watching.